So today's question comes from Tracy in Connecticut. She visits DaveRamsey.com to ask, 6 years ago, half a decade ago plus one, while we were going through a rough time, my husband and I moved into a property that belongs to my parents, and they have never charged us rent. Over the last couple of years, I've been trying to convince my husband that we need to move out and rent somewhere since we aren't ready to buy. He doesn't want to rent and would rather stay here until we are able to buy. I'm afraid he's become comfortable with our living arrangement. You think? I feel like this arrangement is hindering our ability to be mature adults, and I'm losing respect for myself and my husband. What should I do? How do I convince my husband that we have overstayed when him and my parents think this arrangement is okay? There's so much here, man.
Break it down there, doctor.
So I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna run you through some questions like I would ask somebody if they just plopped this in front of me. Okay.
All right.
Question number 1. You have lived rent-free for 6 years, and you are still not in a position to get your own place. Tell me about that.
Oh, man. Oof.
Number 2. Over the last couple of years, you've been trying to convince your husband that you need to move out. How do you convince your husband? Like, what's going on for a couple of years that is not sinking in, right?
Yeah.
That you want to move out and rent somewhere since you aren't ready to buy. Number 3, he doesn't want to rent. He'd rather stay here until we were able to buy. I understand that sentiment if you were actually working towards getting ready to buy, right?
I understand the math part of it.
There you go. That leads me to I don't even know number we're on. Number 49, right? Number 4. I'm afraid he's become comfortable with our living arrangement. Yes. Yeah. Anytime you put somebody in a place where they have no rent, no bills, and they're just going to be able to coast, you are correct. That is a recipe for a comfortable living arrangement. Number 5, I feel like this arrangement is hindering our ability to be mature adults, and I'm losing respect for myself and my husband. That's where I want to park, is taking a rent-free arrangement from your in-laws, less mature, less responsible, less respectful. What do you think, Anthony?
I wish I could ask more questions.
Right.
You know,
There's
because
so much here.
there's so much there that I really want to dive into. One, why did you all go there in the beginning? And then I'm like you. Number 2, okay, you all been there 6 years and you're still not in a position to do something. Are you not in a position to purchase a home, or are you not in a position to even move out and to get an apartment? And so for here, what I would recommend to her, and again, I'm not married, so I want to leave this majority on you because I want to make sure that I'm respecting my lane.
That's a good pass.
As a single person, I want to make sure that them two, actually all of them, all the parties, the in-laws, the husband and her, need to have an honest conversation, and we need to come to an end date to when will this partnership end? Okay. All right. When are you all moving out? When are we moving out? Here's the date, and then from here moving forward, the wife and the husband need to have a conversation. All right, that's our date. What are we doing to meet that date? And right now, they're not in a position to buy no home. No home. We're going to rent. All right, we're going to rent. They should be in a position. They should be debt-free, to be honest. They should have no major bills because they've been living rent-free for 6 months.
6 years.
6 years, I mean.
Right.
I keep saying 6 months, 6 years. Oh, man, I wish y'all could just call into the show. I really wish they could just call into the show. If you're hearing us right now, call into the show the next time Dr. D or myself are on, because I have a lot of questions.
I want to focus on mature adults and losing respect. One of the cornerstones of maturity to me is this idea of intentionality.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan?
Yeah.
I don't think it immediately suggests you aren't mature if you are able to live rent-free in an in-law's home while you get your stuff together.
I think the immaturity comes, though,
6 years later. There's no plan.
Yes.
There's no objective. There's no, hey, we're going to do this for 7 years, and we're going to pay cash for our house.
And let's clear this up. We're not calling them immature. What we're saying, the decision that you've made over the last 6 years is immature.
And you're clearly not on the same page with each other.
Right.
Right? One of you is losing respect for both of you. You're trying to convince one another. Like, that's just not how relationships work. So what should I do? How do I convince my husband that we have overstayed? It's very hard to convince somebody.
It's very hard to convince a man. Let's just be real.
Well, That works both ways too. Men can be especially hard-headed, but it works both ways. I think the idea is to less try to convince somebody, try to quote-unquote change their mind, and really you need to get out of this free house. Now, again, you're talking 6 years. This is a whole different level of enmeshment. You need to get out of here and really let him hear, not nagging, not complaining, not I'm losing respect for you, but here is my vision for us.
Yeah.
I want us to have our own place. I want us to be together and have shared goals that don't include my parents, that include us working together and moving forward, and letting somebody hear that. That's different than, hey, what about this? What about this? What about this? You disagree with me, so bring it back.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that the wife should come back and say, here's the vision that I have for us.
Here's my dream. You're doing it together.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Because, I mean, now some ladies may be like, Anthony, really? No, but I think the vision needs to come from the both of them.
You co-create it, but it starts with one. It starts with one saying, I want you to hear my heart, and here's my passion, here's my vision for us. And here's the deal. Parents got Tracy and her husband under their thumb. Yeah. Of course they're going to be great with that arrangement.
So the practical step here is, first thing is pray. Ask God to give you the words and the wisdom to have a conversation with your husband. Have a conversation with your husband away from your in-laws. After that conversation, you and the husband come back, sit down, have a meeting with the in-laws, and you all go from there.
Got a dream together.